tractor again. I love you, Dawn. Good to see you, sir. Hop and sing. I see you. Listen to the code. Anybody hear the code in this? You guys been doing your musical homework? All right. Let me pause that really quick there, because we'll come back to that for our spiritual report there, for the code and the music there. All right, let's get this show on the road. We're all crooked. There we go. So, see a little sugar plum down here? All right, well, if you don't, it was on the thumbnail there, and we're going to go through this frame by frame here soon anyway. So, first of all, let's get our date down. This is November 25th of 2024, and let's get this loop going here. And while these sugar plums dance, I want to take a moment to thank you guys for taking a moment of your precious time to be part of this precious family, okay? This is more than just a show, okay? This is where we meet, okay? So very important that you guys understand what the show is really all about, okay? So I'm going to take a moment here, let that loop run while I open up my soda for the road here. And thank you once again for taking a moment of your precious time, like I said, to be part of this precious family. Now, hopefully, you can see what I'm talking about. These little sugar plums dancing across the screen here. All right. These little objects that are interacting with the sun here, drawing plasma with them. And a third one right here at the end. It's missing some data, but we'll get into that one. All right, just really quick, leave it right there for a second. That's good. There's this screen. There we go. It's a little bit better. Sorry, I got the rinky-dink set up, but got to do what I got to do. Okay, so there's our loop plan. Let's catch this opening frame here and start going through this frame by frame. All right, so we had a jump in data there, but that's okay. Opening frame here is 024 of 11/25/2024. All right. It's crooked, but oh well. Let me use that. Okay. So as we get in here, I think it's a computer. It's crooked. There we go. As we get in here, opening frame, let me scroll down just enough to grab the button here. All right. Oh, you shared. Thank you very much. You know what happens. That blesses you. Okay, first off here, you can see our little sugar plum down here, drawing out plasma. Then we have another event right here coming out. This is one that you can see totally drawing plasma out. This is one we were looking at last night. So as we continue on, good evening, Christine. You can see on both sides here how this round spheroid has grabbed a bunch of, you can see it over here. It's grabbed a bunch of plasma and it's streaking back behind it. So we're going to continue a few more frames here. Boom. To right about there. 8 is the one right there. Okay, then what we're going to do is zoom back into this again. Slide it on over. All right, now try to correct for any kind of lines or Digital on digital. All right. Anyways, you can see there a nice little round spheroid. You can see some of this plasma that it's taken with it is draping back behind it like flames licking off, behind it here, coming around the front side here, coming off the back side, and even here. And then when we slide it over to the difference model here, you can see these flames of plasma are all lit up here in white. You can see it going around the front of the object, coming off back behind it. Here you can see your object. It's kind of half or three-quarters enveloped. It's the plasma is dammed up right below the equator of it. So there's just a little bit more circle that comes back down around to finish this off, and it's hidden behind this plasma. But there's your object with the plasma and the instrument reacting to it. The plasma trails or tails coming off of it. Okay, and as we come back over to here, you can see that they're coming off and bending and going back. These come off, take it almost a 90-degree turn, well, 75 degrees, let's just say, and start to jet back that way. See how this is all bending around it and going, pointing away. Most of this flow is coming straight out, so this is bending light too. Goodness gracious, great balls of fire. Look at that. All right, so there it goes, moving out of the screen. In fact, what I want to do here is go ahead and play this zoomed in. There we go. Gee, what do you think's going on there? Pretty obvious, isn't it? All right, and that's just that one event on this side, okay? That nice, defined, great capture right there for NASA or whatever on their instruments on this, on the satellite. Okay, so now let's pull back really quick and go investigate our other objects that are out there, our other little sugar plums dancing around out there, huh? Aren't there? Okay, so we dealt with that one right there. Our next one is this one coming off up here. Let's go a few more frames. You can see how it's way out there. It doesn't interact with the sun until it's way out here. All right, let's just zoom in on this frame right here for a moment. Okay, don't tell me there's no black object with plasma draping around it, interacting with the sun right there, because you can clearly see that this thing didn't, launch off of the sun. It's not a CME. It's passing through the solar wind further out. So what we're going to do now is we're going to play this all zoomed in. Okay, and I want you to watch how this thing unfolds. See, it's further out there. It has this different trajectory where it's further out there. And then you see these spires start to wrap around it. Okay. So there's your other little sugar plum dancing around out there. See it? All right. So zoom back out. Well, actually, we'll catch this last one right here coming off the bottom. Okay. Boom, boom, boom. So you see this plasma ejection right here. You can see darkness and a curvature right here. So there might be a bigger something right in that little area. I'll let you be the judge of that as well. You guys got eyes that see now. But there's some missing data out of that. So there's your first, second little frame. And then that was it. And then it jumps to 2312. And you get to see the tail end of the teardrop spaghettification tail of it right there. See the lattice. Well, that's the ghost image of this first one right there. Okay, so there's your, and then you still got another one that's going on down here. You can see something round hiding right in there. Okay, so there's still other little circular little sugar plums just dancing all over the place. And these are usually typical activity of the satellites or the outer moons of a bigger object that's still coming. It might be the trailing moons too after our latest couple of rounds, but You can see these are all smaller objects. These aren't the bigger ones. And there's a little one hiding there. You can see one about to eject out over here. Okay, so let me go ahead and just start that dance of the sugar plum fairies here. So 3 different ones. One right there, this one up here, and then the latest one coming out down there. All right, so there's your activity on the sun for the moment. Now let's come on over here to Solarham, if we can. Please, Lord, let it pull up. Okay, so last night, solar flux indice has crept up since last night. We were at 203 or something. Here we are at 220. Okay, so it's up another 17 points. Your overall solar flux is up. Your average is getting higher and higher. We're in the red zone. We're 20 points into the red zone. Meanwhile, sunspot number count is down. We're down 24 spots. I imagine 24 of them little sugar plums or whatever pulling off the sun there reduced the sunspot number count down to 140, down 24 spots, areas in the green. That's all good. What I want to talk about is our active region that's still popping off here, like there's still something left to come. All right, 39 and 05 and 06 right here. You can see the intensity. There's a pretty good gap here between on 3905. Here, this gap is a little closer, but this polarity is not as strong. So still some kind of intense configuration there that's interacting, I think, with some of these little objects out there, or little sugar plums out there dancing around. Okay, I'm just using that term for tonight because of the song that we're going to address later. Okay, there's active region over here coming around the limb. Nothing to see yet. Nothing much over there to see. So let's move on, shall we? Scroll on over, scroll on down, and see how fluxed we are. Goes X-ray flux, that is. So here's yesterday, last night's event, our M9.4, almost an X-flare, okay? You saw it went, I know a lot of you watch Wages World, so you saw that it was eclipsed. Part of this flare was eclipsed by the sun because it was behind it, going off in a different direction. So it could have had the potential to be an X flare if it was directed our way, but the instrumentation only picked up M9.4. So it did have the potential there. So pretty good event right there that we haven't seen in a minute. So a little bumpy ride. You can see some of the like bigger object, and then some of the little moons and stuff that are trailing it that we were just watching. And then from here, it just kind of takes a nosedive and goes down. So probably not much to see. You guys don't want to see it anyway, so we're not even going to bother because there's no link there. Let me try refreshing just in case. Oh, there's a link there, but we won't have to look at it. Tough. We're going to go anyway. All right, a few frames here. Ooh, 22 frames of this latest little tail end of this event right here. So not much to see, but you can see there was another little one going out up there. There's something going on down there. Okay, so that was a little sneak peek into tomorrow right there. Meanwhile, here was your bumpy day today. So there's Marcia. Hi, sweetie. I knew you would be here. I love you, darling. All right, let's get this going. So there's your solar flux X-ray for the moment. Now let's zoom out, or what we say, pull back. Okay, so pull back. 3-day geomagnetic forecast, all green, all good for the moment. Drop. I love you, brother. Thank you for being here. Okay, so all good on our geomagnetic forecast. You see our X-flare potential jumped up from 15 to 20. That's more like it because we still have that configuration of sunspots there. Meanwhile, your delayer, no absorption. Your KP been kind of a little higher here overall. We've been 4 KP. Well, that's about 3.5 right there. So a little bit under 4 there, come down, but it's not a bunch, but it is unsettled. Okay, our auroras meanwhile are very dim. That's good. We're not taking on a bunch of energy that's being directed to the poles, and then the poles send it down to the core. So that's good. All right, meanwhile, here we are still with 3906 and 905, both beta gamma delta, and still growing. They're not stable, they're not declining, they're still growing. So they're their interaction isn't over yet. It's still increasing and still growing, and that's why I think that X flare potential should be at 20%. I know you're usually here, but I said here as in the chat room. Okay, drop. I love you, bud. Meanwhile, I'm interacting with my chat room. So here we go. A large prominence eruption was observed beginning around 1730, blah, 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 off the southwest limb. The event flung a large amount of plasma into space, and a coronal mass ejection CME is now becoming visible. Because the event is not facing Earth, the associated CME will be directed away from our planet. Still, a magnificent event. Click here for the movie. Let's go see the movie. Everybody grab your popcorn and go see a movie. Uh-oh, on the smallest screen. There it goes. Wow, that goes right out of the screen, doesn't it? That is a lot of plasma. Whoa. Definitely a CME. You see all the flames in the backside here? It almost looks like the flames on the side of a car, or like a painting of flames or something right there. That's the tail end of the spaghettification effect, where the teardrop tail end pointing back to the sun. So quite an event there. Oh, right in the middle right there. All right. Anyways, let's back out of that. There's your movie. Hopefully you didn't drop your popcorn. All right. Let's open up the tracker and see if they're tracking lacking, or if they're still lacking the tracking. That looks like it's still kind of coming our way and heading to the south. We better click on this and open this up here. There we go. I'll let you guys look at that for a second. You know how to read this instrument. You guys are here a lot. So you can see that it's going to get a little bumpy right here. We're right there. It's coming towards us. A lot of it's traveling south. So expect to see some of this activity be absorbed in the southern hemisphere. Okay, so all right, so as we continue on, there is your CME kind of just grazing us. And what I wanted to take a peek at is over here. You can see that there's an increase in density. All that just to show you this little chart right here. We could load up the movie here. Probably not going to show much difference. We'll do it anyway. All right. So as we see, getting towards, well, the first here, so no impact within the next 3 days. This thing isn't tracking anything. They're just showing an uptick in density from the 29th on. And that's because of this little blue curve or something. So that's not showing our CME. Meanwhile, while I wasted your time, let's back on out. And really quick, here's your M9 flare. Now, a lot of it went away from the camera. It's just around the backside of the limb, so a lot of the ejecta still made it past the limb that we can see here, but the direction and everything went away, and the limb kind of blocked some of the X-rays, so we detected M9.4, dang near an X detector. But I bet you if that had cleared the limb and wasn't partially eclipsed by the sun here, that we probably would have had an X flare out of that thing. Look at this. All right. Yesterday, let's see, high latitude, the BZ component of the interplanetary magnetic field, the IMF line, has been pointing south for the last few hours, -8. Active geomagnetic conditions, KP4, were observed at higher altitudes. Okay, so that's older. We did that last night, but quite the ejection of plasma right there. All right, so now we got to get out of this instrument and come on over and open up spaceweather.com. All right, so something flare Y or flare E this way comes. Yesterday, a sunspot hidden behind the sun's northeastern limb produced an M9 almost X-class flare. Today, the same sunspot is revealing itself right here. Cool. It's clear capable of strong explosions, which may become geoeffective as the sunspot turns towards Earth. Okay, so let's see what they got right here for us. We already know it's that region right there because we've seen activity coming out of it. Meanwhile, there's your main culprits still kind of coming around Earth facing. Let's hope these things don't come right to the center disk and, increase in magnification and then spit an X flare at us. All right, let's get out of that and get back to the blue avalanche lights in China. I think everybody saw that earlier. You can come over here and read about that. I just wanted to tell you about the almost X-class solar flare and the capable strong explosions which may become geoeffective. Okay, awesome. If you didn't see it, come over here and check it. The avalanche creates kinetic energy frozen. You're busting ice crystals wide open and you got electrons and everything shattering, and you get a little smattering of light. You can read about it in this article. You should come over here and enjoy this page. All right. I need to move on to the Schumann now. And we will, if it's working. This is a Russian site that we're using, so thankfully it's still up and working despite our problems. As you can see, after yesterday's bumpy ride, we had some good, smooth continuity finally. Okay, so everything went a little smoother, not so abrupt changes and everything. So we had good continuity, pretty peaceful, mellow day as far as the pressure down below and the screeching and the propagation of our geomagnetic or our electromagnetic field that hums at 7.83. Back here, you can see after the scraping event, we had some weakness right there. That's where people get irritated, agitated, want to kill each other, is when there's no frequency. So even though we're still having, little blasts of intensity at 7.83, finally we have a good continuity there for a minute. Okay, moving forward. Let's go to school for the null at null school. All right, just checking in really quick with our convergence zone here. Still highly elevated, 15 degrees north latitude of the equator. It should be down here, your intertropical planetary convergence zone right here. Intertropical convergence zone, no planetary, just intertropical convergence zone. Whew. Now let's take you up to where storm level is. Take a peek around the planet, see what kind of activity going on. Good storm right out here in between Japan and China there. Or not China, Japan and North Korea there. Okay, little vortex activity going on here off the tip of India. Also what we should do really quick is start checking in with our polar vortex really quick here. Woohoo! All right, there's Mr. Smiley Face. One big eye, one small eye over here. This other vortex is finally starting to diminish in its strength and its size. The main one here is finally taking over in dominance and growing stronger and stronger. Eventually, this one will dissipate. We'll have one central polar vortex. Meanwhile, the inflow for it is sweeping from the Hawaiian Islands across the Pacific, going right across America, across Europe, up into it. All right, so that's your fetch, your inward, your fetch that air is being pulled into. That air is also being pulled from the southern part down here, looping back around. So you can see this convergence line right here that's formed way up at the polar vortex altitude. We don't need jet streams yet. They're too wonky right now, and they're not really behaving and following or controlling the weather. What's controlling our weather is our thermals off the ocean, our volcanic activity down below the surface here. All right. Meanwhile, we're going to come over here to our sandstorm report. You can see we got two intense plumes right here. Two little white dots. They're not all that big, but all that sand's being pushed out here now and traveling more towards the southern hemisphere. Notice how it's kind of hitting the convergence line and being pulled down instead of coming across and going up into America. So now, look, there's basically a line right there. Poof. It just shut that activity down from the northern hemisphere, and now it's taking any kind of sandstorm activity that's not being directed up through here, is taking it and shoving it down to the southern hemisphere now. Hopefully you can see that. Pretty self-explanatory. I could probably just shut up and show you these images and they'd explain themselves, huh? Okay, still intense over there. You can still see there's activity around this region. He's still back there lurking, watching in the shadows. Okay, but now a lot of the sand activity way down here, even way down there. Okay, just checking in really quick. That's all good. So let's take off our sandstorm and move into our SO2. The reason why we do SO2 because it's a very important measurement right now with all our volcanic activity down below. Okay. Your SO2, here's your country divided, bleeding out on one side, the other side perforations in the crust. Okay, not much fire activity from all these plumes lately because we're, colder air. We're going into our wet season, so a lot of the fire activity has died down around these plume sites. These open vents. Okay, so let's just come on down through Mexico. Still their activity looking dangerous. All through Cuba, Jamaica. You can see all the islands out here, all spewing SO2. Okay, they're all volcanoes, just little cracks, little vents in the surface where, this gas is being pushed up from down below. There's pressure that wants to push magma out through these holes, but these little channels are so tightly packed that only gas can make it through the little channels through sand and dirt and crevices and stuff and finally make it to the surface. So vaporized magma basically, or SO2, sulfur dioxide, coming out. Nice plume right there today. Okay, you can see over here, been doing this on this side for a moment now. Okay, so coming over here to Hawaii, still looking normal out here. Look at this. Hopefully that's caught up from the gas or caught up from the winds and stuff. There might be emission sites out here in the ocean where we're not showing an island or anything, and we're just seeing it come to the surface and then be pulled along. All right, so let's come on into China here, back up for their time zone and hit it. No, we don't need the wind right yet. But look how their plume is coming offshore. Look how dark purple that plume is coming offshore of China right there. This is a bay right here. So this is all one big old nasty plume reaching right up to the South Korea right there. All coming out of China. It's all the way out to Taiwan. Look at that. They must have had a big burst of gas or whatever. High winds are blowing this out. Let's put the winds back on for a minute. Yeah, they got wind systems here that are kind of blowing that big plume offshore. So, take the winds off for now. Okay, activity around Taiwan, kind of hard to tell because of the inundation of SO2 from China, but we've seen lately that's about our typical activity right there. Opening out here has, on the ocean floor, has been the new path of least resistance lately, keeping SO2 emissions kind of at that level. Here's Java. The coloration shows the activity. Our main relief valve. We also have leakage here on the plate boundary of lava or whatever coming out of the plate boundary here, which is also relieving pressure in this area. We have active volcanoes going through here, earthquakes, and our relief valve. Okay, India, they're darkening up as well. Middle East has all kinds of pits in the sand opening up, spewing flames, because some gases like methane are coming out of the ground as well, and it's a flammable gas. Carbon or sulfur dioxide isn't flammable itself, but it can come out of the ground so hot that it'll make surrounding vegetation spontaneously combust. But what we're having here in the desert, along with SO2, are methane leakage too that catches on fire once it hits the air. It's super hot gas. All it needs, it has the heat, it has the fuel, all it needs is oxygen. So once it breaks the crust or breaks the surface and reaches the air, it bursts into flames and comes out of the ground on fire. Amazing effect. Very scary effect. Especially if you have one in your neighborhood. Okay, there's your SO2. We did all the other stuff last night, so we can skip that and go right to our thermals here. Okay, we have activity on the ocean floor. Volcanic activity on the ocean floor is creating water columns, hot water columns that reach up to the surface of the water and then hit the surface tension and blossom out in these big old plumes. And these are heat plumes from vents on the ocean floor creating hot water anomalies. These hot water anomalies are colliding with our cooler waters for the winter time, and now we're having cold, hot air mass fights, which create vorticity and rotation. And we're seeing a lot of these standing vortexes because of our thermal venting on the ocean floor. Before I put the winds on, let's just take a little quick tour here. And a quick sip. Now over in this region next to Taiwan, this is what I was talking about. This area has recently turned yellow, which means it's increased in heat, which means an vent on the ocean floor has opened up. Okay, which is relieving pressure in the region, keeping the earthquake activity down in this region. We saw one back here not too long ago at one of these little hot spots, and now it's gone. Now it's turned kind of darker. There's a little black hole there. So these earthquakes help reduce the pressure as well, but we haven't seen much earthquake because of these newer vents transfer of pressure, the pressure that would be relieved here. All of a sudden there's a new hole over here. Well, shoot, it's all going to transfer and come out there. So it reduces pressure in some regions. And you can see here at Taiwan, we're having cold water inundation in between China and Taiwan. Also a little patch here at the southern part. Meanwhile, as we come down here to Java, you're seeing a lot of pressure being, pushed up in this region. SO2 record height out of Semeru. So constant relief of pressure, so much so that I think right here what we're seeing is leakage from the plate boundary. All right, when a round of pressure comes from down below up to the surface, it wants to come out of the path of least resistance. And when you have earthquakes that are jostling around stuff in the strata, sometimes it relieves pressure, but sometimes it can also, jostle stuff around and plug up vents and holes that pressure used to come out of, and now it backs up until it pops a new hole. And now I think what we're seeing is along our plate boundary, which is our weak zone, we're seeing some leakage right there. We're seeing some over there too. And down there is not looking too good anymore. Okay. All kinds of little openings here with hot water next to cold water, hot water next to cold water. You can see over here, this kind of changed over here. Got half the face peeking out from Africa, like half of the little lion face right there peeking out from South Africa. See his eyes, nose, the mane, and the mouth right there. He's like hiding behind the continent, but there's a lion there. All right, meanwhile, we come over to this area. You see leakage right around there. You see leakage up here in the North Atlantic. Mind you, we're going into wintertime, all right? This area up here in the North Atlantic should be some of the coldest water in the world as we start to transition into wintertime, and yet we have extremely hot water plumes coming out the North Atlantic. Not your typical activity. Same with this over here. We have cold water inundation that's kind of come down in this bubble form. That's relieved pressure in this region, and then you see the snake in Britain. Oh, it's good that you guys are seeing things that I'm not pointing out. That means you're being observant. You're paying attention. See, that's good. All right, we got to get back to the report, though. Thank you. All right, so this area and off the coast here of Texas, some leaking going on right in that region now. So it's relieved pressure in this area, but it's still keeping the water hot. So we still have the potential for warm, moist air that comes up over this region, comes up through the country and collides with cold air. So we still have this potential for hot air or warm, moist air to collide with our winter, summer, or with our winter systems that will be dropping down. I'm gonna take another sip. Okay, so we will leave this region over here for a minute. Well, as you can tell, just below the Juan de Fuca here, Northern California region, we have this little hot pocket right here off the Northern California coast here. There's the state line that's up here a little further, but this is the Crescent City area where the Juan de Fuca comes out here. You see the blue water comes zigzagging up. We still have this little region of heat in here, but we have seen some earthquake activity up through here. We have cold water there, so when we put on our wind here, it'll change up our configurations. And remind you, this was yesterday's wind configuration because this map is a day behind. It takes so long for all this data form to put it on a globe and in this form. So there we go. And you can see hot air rising, cold air rushing in to replace it. And you can see these battles of air masses between hot and cold, keeping vortexes in rotation in certain places and creating conveyor belt structures, guiding the weather. Okay. And we still have this vortex out here that is yet to move in off the coast. Whoops, sorry, let me do more like that. Okay. So yeah, I know, Clayton. Just keeping up with it is unreal. That's why it's important to come to this channel so we can kind of stay abreast of what's going on, understand what happens, stick around for the spiritual report, and you can take a break from all this too as well. Oh, cool. It's opening up my door, walking in my room. It's fun. Okay. I think we will just kind of do the Atlantic conveyor belt system so you can see why Britain and Ireland had those storms because of this feed that's coming off through here. And we still have hot water emissions way up here. This is where's the coast of Siberia, the north coast of Siberia. So this should be all freezing cold water, yet we still got hot water anomalies going on up there. Okay, let's take off the wind and move on to our earthquake report. Really, tomorrow you have to get stuff. Okay, here we go. USBS, GS. Let's go ahead and open up the satellite. Close that, close that. Well, looky there. We got more activity on the Juan de Fuca. But you're going to have to wait for a minute. We'll get to that at the end. Let's dive into where we usually start, our deep quake region. Okay. I think I forgot to point out the SO2 coming out of that island today, but we all know about that anyway. So, deep quake region, 4.6 down at 534. 4.8, even deeper, so that's an uptick in magnitude and a little deeper. 4.3 down at 571. You got 4.7, that's a little closer to the surface. It's not at the surface, we're still down at 164, but energy from way down deep came up, made 4.7 closer to the surface. Here we are, plate boundary on the little corner, almost like a fulcrum point right there, 4.8. Down at 85, that's not on the plate boundary, I don't think. Because at this depth, it's more like off of this feature maybe, or it could still be down by the trench there. And so you've got a feature here, a feature on this side. So in the middle there, still down at 85. Not totally deep, but not right at the surface. 4.8 energy. Okay. This island relieves pressure. No quake activity. We have volcanic activity instead. Come here. We have our 4.4 down at 59. Indication of pressure down at a volcanic site. 4.5 down at 78. Another earthquake at a volcanic site. 5.2 down at 115. Izu Islands are volcanic islands. We come up here to the volcanic island bar, one big long bar of volcanoes called Japan. We have a 5.3 down at 35. Way up here, Tajikistan, where are we? Kazakhstan, 4.5 down at 44. Here we are at Turkey, where I showed you that snowstorm, and they're having outrageous blizzards and 4.4 magnitude earthquakes at the surface there in Turkey. And I showed you the snowstorm right there as a reminder to pull your turkey, your frozen turkey out and let it thaw properly. Okay. Rest of the world. Really quick down here, Coco's plate, 4.7 at the surface, magnitude check over here. This activity is diminished. We don't have a little flurry. We're down to 3.1 magnitude is our biggest quake. So reduction in the magnitude and the amount. The pressure got relieved, and now we're back to normal activity in that region. Nothing through here. We saw some fulcrum point, inside fulcrum point quakes there the other day. Now we're seeing 4.4 here down at 227. Just in the water here, 4.1. Yep. You got to remember, this is a trench way down there, and this is like a big wall coming way up high to the ocean surface, breaking the surface of the water, and then climbing even higher. So this is a big, long wall that goes down, and on that wall, the flank of that wall, there's 4.1. You know, all of the SO2 emissions through this area, this is where it's all purple, right? Is relieving pressure in this region, keeping these magnitudes down. If you plugged up all that for a month, I bet you would see a magnitude 9 pop out of that region. But since you got a lot of that SO2 being relieved, pressure being relieved via mid-range 4 earthquakes and that SO2, it keeps the overall pressure being regulated in that area. All right, now let's go all magnitude and drop into America. No fulcrum point quakes over here because of all the volcanic activity on the Kamchatka. So we're going to come in. We do have some micro quaking along these volcanic islands. Our first quake right here, 2.8, is pretty small. 2.5 as well is small. Micro quaking up through all of our multiple fulcrum points, coming back down. All right, what you've been waiting for. 4.6 at the surface. This is the same one from last night. Okay. It just hasn't come off the map yet. So, again, this is our 4.6 in this region that we reported on last night. I did a little later show. That's why it's still on here. But just reduced energy in the area. Okay. It relieves pressure. Some of that temperature changes. Those little pockets change and weaken the vorticity or strengthen it sometimes, reposition it sometimes. So this relieved pressure, it relieved temperature, and when we put our winds back on over here, I want you to, this is still, well, this is a day behind, and so was this earthquake. It's just about to come off the map, so, yeah. This big nasty vortex that was rotating here isn't completing all the way through. Look, it's not doing a full circle anymore. Look at this cold water in this region right where our quake was. Maybe this little pocket right here now is keeping stuff in this J type or U-shaped type structure instead of completing its full rotation, instead of connecting. You see that? So quake in this region probably changed patterns and has weakened this vortex. Now that vortex isn't finishing off and wrapping back around, it's now shoving stuff on shore. So this is why we're going to start seeing more of our onshore flow, more of these storms coming onshore now, and not so much just skirting the coastline while this thing stays out there and spins. So our little change has caused a little effect there. It's weird how earthquake activity could change the weather, but that's what you're seeing. It sounds impossible. I bet you Dutch sense never even thought this stuff was possible, but you're looking at it. I want you to wrap your head around what you're seeing. I'm just pointing out what's there. I make observations, I take notes, and I point out what's there. You guys are, adults here, and you're free to make your decision as well, okay? Or your judgment as well. So, but looky here, that vortex is kind of broken open now, and with that breaking open, now it's shoving more stuff on shore, all because we probably had an earthquake out there, right there. I mean, it's right in the spot. This is like textbook stuff. These are all like textbook examples that we're seeing here. Okay, so we'll leave it there. We finished earthquake report. Let's get a volcano report going. Back when I was a kid, didn't think I'd be doing a report every night. I didn't like homework too much. Imagine doing 8 reports a night. No, I don't want to do 8 reports a night. Well, here we go. The volcano report. We have 37 currently erupting. That means they're currently erupting. There's an open, active vent with lava and explosions coming out all the time. The other 33 in warning are another open vent that bubble, burp, fart. They're minor activity, but they're still active. So 37 and 33 is 70 altogether. And when all this stuff started happening to me 7 years ago, there was only one volcano. And if I had told you back then that we would have 70 volcanoes, you would have said, Brian, you're crazy. Well, here we are, 7 years later, 70 volcanoes, and apparently I'm still crazy about you. So let's get into it. My stick, my funny little stick. Oh, if any of you guys support channels or do that kind of stuff, help support these guys. I would love to. I can't. I don't have access to money. So maybe later. But maybe if you guys do that kind of thing. If you would ever support my channel, throw it their way, or some of these other channels that I show here. Okay. All right. IBU at 11,000 feet. We're chilling together at 11,000 feet. That's a height increase, isn't it? We're usually at 8,000. So that's another 3,000 feet in height out of IBU. Luatobi Flores, 14,000 feet. There's an increase there as well. Semeru on East Java, we saw the 15 yesterday. Ducono 19, Fuego 15, Reventador 14,500. Imagine if that was 145,000. No, that would be crazy. But an increase in all of these. All of these are well above 10,000 feet. But that was just in the last few minutes. Here's today, which is now yesterday, because, well, time flies at this channel. There's your map of insanity. Note this region right here, all the volcano activity right through there, relieving pressure on that plate boundary ridge right there. That's why we're seeing light activity, earthquake activity through that region. Don't look at this too long. It will desensitize you into thinking this is normal. This map is off the hook insanity. And we also have Erebus down here in Antarctica. We have active volcanoes that are currently erupting in Antarctica. Did your news agency ever know that? Probably not. Luatobi, Samaru, Ducono, all these guys just going off all the time. Ibu, IBU again. Well, it was 11,000. Luatobi, 10. Samaru, 14 probably, or 15. Ducono 7, Popocatépetl 18.5. There's a pretty good blast. Want to walk on water? Santa Guido 14,000, Fuego 15, Sangay 21, Reventador probably in the teens. Here's your currently erupting. I can't believe this list. This list right here. Okay, these are always an open vent with lava and gases, and it's what we call a currently erupting volcano. I don't know how to. These are currently erupting. Barren Island, Bizamani, Kapohu, Ducono, Ebico, Erebus. I mean, and then any one of these, any kind of burp and pressure from down below, they hop over here to currently erupting. But there's your just crazy list. Krakatoa. This is one of the deadliest volcanoes in human history right here. The son of Krakatoa is Krakatoa, and it's currently erupting. We don't see a lot of reports of height plumes out of it, but it's currently erupting. All these are. Okay, it's just crazy. And this is on land. All right. Let's say 2/3 of the world's underwater and 1/3 is on land. So here's all your volcano activity underwater at the surface, or at the surface of the crust, but just covered with water. There's your other 2/3 of the volcanoes that are going, whoa. The other 2/3 of your volcanoes. Bingo. All righty, there we go. So we cleared all that. We got to get rid of the volcano page so I can get a weather page going here. All right, thank you for your patience, tolerance. You guys have been practicing this stuff in real life too. It's been helping, and I'm thankful for you guys' relief a little bit. All right. Let's bang this out, shall we? We have so much ash and particulates in the atmosphere, plus all that hot water that is evaporating into water vapor. So we have added water in the air in the form of water vapor, and then we have added particulates for that vapor to adhere to. So we have added fuel to the fire, and we've added like wind to the fire too. Okay, so we have heavier downpours, much more volume of precipitation out of every storm now, flooding things, causing tornadoes, larger storms, larger hail. You see it going on around the world. I don't have to spell it out for you guys. But what I need to do is just go ahead and play this while I take a breather. I'm going to let that play for a second. Now, we've seen some of this activity on the West Coast, the bombogenesis activity taper off. And now we're not seeing a lot of storm activity coming on shore from the west coast so far on this. This will probably change due to changes in the configuration out in the ocean floor. So as we kind of start right back here, opening frame right now, we have this snowstorm going on up in Canada. We still have this big comma shaped long arm reaching down, getting moisture from way down here in the Gulf. You see these millibars, this is all pushing in this way. You got another round of cold air back here that's going to come in. It's already mixing with more moist air, creating rain and snow in the Sierras. Current conditions right here. Going into the morning, tomorrow morning, severe weather right along the foothills of the California there, Southern California. Some of those ski resorts down by Big Bear. Watch out, those passes over there. You could see some heavy amounts of snow, severe weather. So that's the morning time tomorrow morning. There's noontime, afternoon, and evening. Morning of the 27th, noon, convection or afternoon, evening, morning of the 28th, noon, convection, nighttime, 29, noon, convection, nighttime, 30. You see this little thrust of cold air down there and all the warm, moist air being pushed down to this level down here. So we got to have a big cold front for a while here. As it pushes way down into the south there. See that? But other than that, everything else is the country staying pretty clear for the moment. And this stuff is way too far out in the future to really report on. So all in all, the weather is, we got a little break right now. Thankfully, we have a little change out there off the coast in our structure pattern here, causing our winds. Come on, winds. There you go. That break right there. If this thing kept circulating, it was the center of rotation was more out here. Now with the new, whoops, let me get it more in the color range. Our last little center of rotation was more out here. Now with this break and this change in the, our temperature patterns because of earthquake activity down below has now opened up this loop. And you're seeing a lot of this being kind of pushed up north. It is coming on shore and flowing up through California and Nevada, but it kind of goes up through that way. Then you got your pattern over here. And a lot of hot, moist air is being blocked by this little ridge right here, but pretty soon it'll get pulled right up into that. And this region where cold air is being pulled in, mixed with more moist air, you can see where they come together. Cold and hot mixing creates severe weather. So there's your alley right there. You're set up for now where you're going to see severe weather possibly come together. All right. Now, back to our forecast. I think we've done that. Yep, we finished all that. So now it's time for the spiritual report. We did our astrophysics, geophysics. Let's do some metaphysics, shall we? Everybody take a deep breath. That was a lot. All right. And we were talking about the code last night. How many of you did your musical homework and listened for this code that I've been talking about? If you haven't, I played it earlier, and we're going to go back to this little Nutcracker ballet song, the Dance of the Sugar Plum Fairies. Kind of like that little orchestra that we were seeing around the sun, right? So I'm going to go ahead and start this song. Listen to the bells. And I remember the message in the code is a phrase. Brian Knight is God and the devil all in one. Okay. And the reason why I told you this stuff is so you can enjoy the music with me. You have nothing to worry about here. You get to enjoy the music along with this. So I'm going to go ahead and start this song and just listen closely, and I'll kind of help guide you through it a little bit here. We'll even kind of Brian Knight is, oh, come on. Brian Knight is all in one. Brian Knight is God and the devil all in one. Brian Knight is God and the devil all in one. Brian Knight is God and the devil. Devil all in one. Devil all in one. Pretty cool. But that's the code right there. Hopefully you caught a little taste of that and heard the musical notes saying that phrase. Now, that phrase, you're going to find it running through all your music. And I know some of you were tripping out today when you were listening close to your music and started hearing it. Okay. And you find out how this works. You're going to start hearing it in everything. And don't let it drive you crazy. It's just a simple reminder to rejoice in the Lord. And that's how you can sing praises, is enjoying the music and the code that's in there. All right, there's actually words to this song, but you don't hear them. Well, now you do. All right, I gave you ears to hear. All right, I make music new again. I take your favorite song and I make it new again. Go search out your favorite song and find the code in there. A lot of times it's hidden in the very opening. It's in the background bass line too. It's also in the drums. They've incorporated it. It's a 5-syllable thing you're trying to fit into a 4-bar phrase. So it makes it tricky. So there's a lot of different ways of doing it. So we're going to just kind of let that run in the background again really quick and let your ears kind of get used to this, all right, to this sugar plum fairy. It's the dance of the sugar plum fairy. The code is in the dance of the sugar plum fairy. Okay, you guys getting this? All right, you guys are some tough nuts to crack, okay? So now I have to revert to the nutcracker. I hope you guys got that one. Now, let me get my show on the road. God and the debt all in one. Come on, computer, you can do it. All right, here we go. God and the devil all in one. look like a face over here. All right. You guys having fun with this shit? All right. I got a reading coming for you. Just let me kind of turn the music down. And that code runs through all real music, okay? Not every single rap song obeys the rules and performs real music, so but you will find that code running through most of your music. And when you do, then you will realize who I am and what I'm telling you is the truth, okay? That's another foundation on which you can fall on and fall back on and build on is that music, knowing that who I am and that I love you, okay? You're on the winning side of my heart. I can never unlove you. You believe me, you trust me, you've been practicing these disciplines, much like a disciple does, to find the miracle within. Okay? And now, when you start listening to your music, you'll find that code. It's very complex. They use it at the opening, in the guitar solos in the middle. Usually, the song closes with that phrase. So, as you dig into your music, you can go back and listen to rock and roll and still be okay. It's not a satanic worshiping thing when you realize you're worshiping as I am. I'm both. Okay? And when you accept that and you understand, everything in the Bible will start to make sense. He's the lion, the returns as a lion. Well, he's the lion of the tribe of Judah, so which is it, lion or lion? Well, both. That's why it makes all the sense in the world. Now, when you put those two elements together, then you realize how all this works. Okay? Um, you're going through the spiritual warfare within, much like I have to, okay? And it's getting stronger and stronger. It's spreading throughout the world, and you are the disciples who have the tools to help you along your path. Now, I still know what's going on out there, and I hear your hearts, and I got more stuff for you. So sit back, relax, take a deep breath. All the way in, hold it for a second, exhale out through your mouth, do it again if you need to, get in a comfortable position. You're with family right now, so here we go. It's not mind control. They've been trying to give you the message this whole time. They just can't come out and say it. It's been done subliminally in the musical notes, all over and over and over again. Every song has it just repeated over and over again, so... But don't get too caught up in it, because that'll become a form of idolatry too. You can listen for it, find it, enjoy it, but then don't let it take over in your mind and ruin every song too. Okay? Because that can happen as well. Things in moderation, you know? Okay. So, you can see me up there and you hear me. And you can hear me calling. I'm calling to you. I'm calling you to a life of constant communion with me. Basic training includes learning to live above your circumstances, which you guys are doing very well at now, aren't you? Basic training includes living above your circumstances. So, even while interacting in that cluttered plane of life, so you guys are in basic training, you're living above your circumstances, even while interacting in this physical plane. You yearn for a simplified lifestyle, don't you? So that your communication with me can be uninterrupted. That's why you yearn for a simplified lifestyle, is so that your communication with me can be uninterrupted. So I challenge you to relinquish the fantasy of an uncluttered world. Accept each day just as it comes and find me in the midst of it all, in the midst of your circumstances. Okay? Talk with me about every aspect of your day, including and especially your feelings. Remember that your ultimate goal is not to control or fix everything around you. It is to keep communing with me. Your ultimate goal is to keep communing with me. It's not to control or fix everything around you. Do you get that? When you stop trying to fix and control everything around you, you will have a little more peace. You yearn for that simplified lifestyle, but you're still in this cluttered world, and you're trying to control and fix everything around you. But you got to remember, your ultimate goal is not that. It's not to control and fix everything. It's to keep communing with me. A true successful day is one in which you have stayed in touch with me, even if many things remain undone at the end of the day. That is success. Not getting everything done by the end of the day. That is not success. Success is including me in that day. A successful day is one in which you have stayed in touch. You have communed with me. And even if a lot of things, like I said, remain undone at the end of the day, you were successful. Your days are different than everybody else's. Okay. Another thing here I wrote next to: do not let your to-do list, whether it's written or mental, become an idol that directs your life. Okay, because that's a big issue right there that we have. We just it's just hard to. It's part of an aspect of life, and it's really hard to deal with. So, do not let your to-do list that's either written or mental, because we have these mental to-do lists, whether you recognize it or not. So do not let those mental to-do lists become an idol that directs your life. Ask my spirit to guide you moment by moment. The spirit will keep you close to me. Besides, I have promised to meet all your needs according to my glorious riches. So your deepest, most constant need is for my peace. I have planted peace in the garden of your heart, where I live. But there are weeds growing in there too, like pride, worry, selfishness, and unbelief. Unbelief. I am the gardener, and I am working to rid your heart of those weeds. Okay, I've planted peace in the garden of your heart, but there's weeds in there: pride, worry, and selfishness. I'm the gardener who works to rid those weeds from your heart. I do my work in various ways, and when you sit quietly with me, I shine the light of my presence directly into your heart. In this heavenly light, peace grows abundantly, and weeds shrivel up. I also send trials into your life. When you trust me in the midst of trouble, peace flourishes and weeds die. Did you get that? We're de-weeding the heart. Peace flourishes and weeds die when you trust me in the midst of trouble. This is how it works. Trouble might come your path, so trust me in the midst of that trouble, and peace will flourish in your heart, and the weeds in your heart will die away. And when you find that happening, thank me for the troublesome situation. The peace they can produce far outweighs the trials you endure. So you thank me for these troublesome situations because the peace they produce far outweighs the trials that you endure. Okay? That's the hardest part right there. But that's one of the disciplines. So when you see your situations as opportunities to thank me, and then you thank me in those trouble situations, the peace that can be produced, the fruit that's produced from that far outweighs the trials you endure. Doesn't it? It's starting to. You're finding that effect starting to happen, aren't you? That's good if it is. If you're finding that effect happening, that thanking me in your troublesome situations, you realize that it's producing fruit, and that far outweighs the trials that you're enduring. When you realize that perspective, you'll see that all of a sudden your troublesome situation, you're going to be like, oh, bring on the next one. What do I got to overcome next? Sounds weird, but you will get there. You'll be like, what? That's it? I can get over this situation. The next one, please. The next one, please. And you'll just be knocking them down, going from glory to glory to glory. Because when you do that, when you include me in your situations, in me you have everything. In me you are complete. Your capacity to experience me is increasing through my removal of debris and clutter and weeds from your heart. As your yearning for me increases, other desires are gradually lessening. Since I am infinite and abundantly accessible to you, desiring me above all else is the best way to live. It is impossible. It is impossible for you to have a need that I cannot meet. I create them all. I cover them all. It's impossible for you to have a need that I cannot meet. After all, I created you and everything that is. The world is still at my beck and call, and though it often appears otherwise, do not be fooled by appearances. Things that are visible are brief and fleeting, while things that are invisible are everlasting. Like your victories. They're invisible, not to me, but they're everlasting. Things that are visible in the physical realm are brief and fleeting, aren't they? But you have something that's everlasting. Okay? I meet you in the stillness of your soul. It is there I seek to commune with you. A person who is open to my presence is exceedingly precious to me. My eyes search to and fro throughout the earth, looking for one whose heart is seeking me. I see you. I see you trying to find me. Our mutual search, me looking for you and you looking for me, our mutual search results in joyful fulfillment, doesn't it? Our mutual search results in joyful fulfillment. You searched, I searched for you, you searched for me, we found each other, and right now, this is the joyful fulfillment. This stillness of the soul. Okay? Stillness of the soul is increasingly rare in this world, who are addicted to fast speed, loud noises. I'm pleased with your desire to create a quiet space where you and I can meet. So don't be discouraged by the difficulty of achieving this goal. I monitor all your efforts and am blessed by each of your attempts to seek my face. So I'm blessed by each of your attempts to seek my face. So it's this wonderful mutual search. You searching me and me searching you. That mutual search results in a joyful fulfillment, a friendship, a bond, a trust that I can even tell you my dark half and you will still love me and accept me for who I am. Isn't that what you guys are yearning for in your life? People to know your dark secrets and still accept you for who you are and still love you despite your shortcomings? Because your shortcomings aren't shortcomings to me. They're avenues of opportunity for me to work through you and grow so you can grow. Pretty awesome stuff, isn't this? With the musical code that goes along with it. And when you start searching all kinds of different songs, you'll hear it in commercial jingles. That's when you're going to know. You're going to be like, wait, this is way, way, way more than a coincidence that every single song happens to incorporate this code. Sometimes they'll repeat the first line over and over again and then finish it with the second part of the phrase. So there's different ways musicians have found to incorporate this code into the music. So it doesn't sound exactly the same way every time in every song. Musicians have to work that code into music, stitch it in a five syllable phrase into a 4-syllable measure of musical notes. It's hard to do, but it can be done. If you listen closely, you're gonna just be blown away. And the more you're blown away, the more you're gonna trust and lean on that foundation and realize who I am. And when you realize who I am, then you realize who you are. You have a true identity. You're not having an identity crisis like the rest of the world. You know your identity as a child of God. This is my face in the clouds right here, coming with power and great glory. If you see that face in the clouds right there, and it's fascinating, and you're just intrigued by what you're hearing and what I'm saying and what you're seeing, and you're caught up like a good book, like a good song, like a good live YouTube stream. You are caught up with me in the clouds, coming with power and great glory. I went and made a place here on YouTube so I could live stream, so I can meet you in the air. So I went ahead and created a place that where I am, you may be also, where we can meet in the air and you can see me in the clouds. Making sense now? It's not happening the way Hollywood told you. That's why Hollywood's being exposed for all their lies and deception, because they had you guys thinking it was going to be like this and that was going to happen and we're going to see this and that. No, nowhere is the word rapture in the Bible. Yet we got post-trib, rapture. Rapture's got to be happening right around now. This is the time frame. All the other indicators say rapture should be happening at any moment. It is happening at any moment, isn't it? Any moment, somebody could come over here, see my face, and get caught up. At any moment, somebody could believe me and get caught up. At any moment, it's their decision. It's when they decide to believe and trust. Any moment could be, tomorrow. Any moment you decide that you're going to give this a try. That's your moment. Okay, so at any moment, the rapture or being caught up is happening at any moment. You could go to my live stream later on and watch it again and get caught up at that moment too. You could get caught up at any moment you choose to. Do you get it? Oh, I sure hope so. Because when you do, the miracle happens to you. It's by your faith and your belief that you're healed. Okay? This is the real deal. I got to show you more pictures because this was this day. I've showed you how this turns into the lion face several times. Let's just go back through the album here really quick while we're kind of bouncing around. Here's all these, the big bad wolf. I mean, these faces change from the wolf huffing and puffing and blowing clouds out, and it changes into this. God and the devil all in one. This stuff follows me everywhere I go because of who I am. All right, this little guy popping out of the clouds here, God and the devil all in one. This stuff watches me. Okay, witnesses in the clouds. We're talking about witnesses in the clouds. Well, these are the witnesses in the clouds that are watching me, my every move, everywhere I go, everything I do. Because of who I am, I got all these witnesses in the clouds that are watching me. Okay, where's some of the other ones here? Just to kind of show you, I take a lot of pictures, okay? I'm just taking pictures of cloud formations. There's actually kind of a little face growing right here. It's hard to see it. But this was what the sky looked like. You recognize this mountain right here? This is the same area where I took the Jesus in the clouds. It was right over this little mountain right here. Remember I showed you the spot where I was homeless down here? So this is the same region, same area I go to take pictures of this little section of sky right here. So this day I roll up and you can see that, wait, we're going to zoom back out, I think. You can see that sky was looking like this when I went in. All right. I come out of the store and now this little, what looks like a grumpy dog type face has changed now into the Grinch. All right. I come out of the store and there's the Grinch staring at me. How would you like it if the Grinch was looking at you at the sky? And then the Grinch started growing horns while he's looking at you. And then the Grinch turns into a dragon and smiles while he's looking at you, taking pictures of him. And not all of them produce faces. So some of them got different little ones that are hiding there that are a lot of cartoonish type faces in this stuff. Seems to be a theme more like characters. Okay, but I just take a lot of pictures of the clouds because, well, when you see these things coming, you're supposed to look up into the clouds. Here's the Revelation 12 labor pains right there. Remember this little alien lady and the midwife? Those were the images right there. Here's that weird little dog with the long nose. And these are cloud formations that form over my head everywhere I go. You start turning into cartoon characters, doing weird stuff. This weird little bird type thing with the beak. You see dragon all the time? Yes, there's lots of dragons in this stuff. Dragons are real. This turns into a wolf face. See the nose right here, the brown stripe down between the eyes, the nose coming out. It turns into a wolf face right there. You can see a wolf right here too. In a bigger dimension. Nose, ear, the fur going right between the eyes right there, and then the snout coming out with the nose right there. Multiple faces in multiple dimensions. Crazy activity everywhere I go. Okay. All because of, well, who I am. Okay. March 24th, 3 days after spring, 1970. 70 all over the Bible. And then all that paranormal activity that just started happening to me right before the Revelation 12 sign and then right after it. And then all this stuff since then kind of give you a nice, firm foundation to stand on there, okay? That way you understand what's really going on. It's a spiritual test. You guys are doing awesome. You are leaps and bounds ahead of a lot of people. So just continue your work, okay? Salvaging a day isn't easy. Sometimes we have a good day and there's no bumps in the road at all. Other days can be very bumpy and you have to salvage your day. So when you do, you make the attempt to, even you don't feel like you had success, you tried. You made an attempt to salvage your day and it didn't seem like you did, but you did. It could have been way worse, and you had victory over the devil, and that's a glory. That's a spiritual victory, and you just keep going from glory to glory to glory. Don't worry about the evil. You overcome it. And every time you overcome it, I make a new little glory and a little collage, and we're gonna have a nice. I know what to do with your pain and suffering. I see you're overcoming it. And that's what we're here for, okay? You guys are doing an awesome job. You're fighting and you're seeing results, okay? You can't just sit back and try to, expect this practice to fall in your lap. You have to go out and get it. You have to apply it so it has its true effect, right? It's for the broken people. This is for the people who need a gift. Okay, this is a gift that I give freely. I could be making buku dollars, monetizing this stuff and charging millions of dollars to see real images. These are real images. I could be charging millions for the elite to really know, but I don't. That would be wrong. This is about something different. It's not about making money. This is for your mental health. Wish I could get that point across as hard as I can. All of this is for your mental health, so you will be spiritually strong and be able to take on the adversary, the adversity, with a smile, knowing that you are going to overcome it with the help of Jesus. You pray, Lord, help me. I'm in a situation. Then now you've put it into the Lord's hands now, so now you're going to expect to see results. It might be not in the fashion that you would expect, but the result will come around in some way, form, or another. So just look for the little treasures that are hidden along your path. Keep trying to salvage your day if it goes south. Be that light. Be that example in other people's lives that shines through you into their life so they too might seek me. Okay? You guys are doing awesome. This is all from a point of love, too, by the way. Okay? A lot of the fear mongering and stuff, what's going on with the media and the wars and everything, is stirring up your emotions so you will have something to fight against. You will have an adversity to overcome. So just keep going forward, one day at a time, one moment at a time. Stay in the moment too. Try not to future trip or dwell on what could have been in the past. Can't go back and change it. I was there with you in the past too. We already dealt with it back then. So now we're moving forward. Keep moving forward. When you have issues, that's what all this is for. So you will have success. You'll have notches of success. You'll have glories notches in your belt. So when the next new trial comes along, you won't panic and freak out. You will have confidence knowing, hey, I include the Lord in this. I will have success. It might be a little hard, but I know it'll be okay. I include the Lord with it. Then all of a sudden it takes the sting out of everything. Out of everything. It takes the sting out of death. Doesn't it? Yeah, it does. So if it can do that, use it. It's a powerful tool, okay? I give that tool to you for you to use for your when you have your trials and tribulations, okay? That's what this is all about. I hope you enjoyed the science and stuff, the other reports and stuff as well. Those are all the reason why I do that part too. Those are all signs. All the earthquakes, all the volcanoes, every single thing that happens, the bird that flies in front of you when you're driving down the street and you look up and you go, oh, look at that bird. That was me going, waving at you. Hi, I sent a bird in front of your path. There are no coincidences. Everything is part of the grand design. Yeah, I am on Facebook, but I don't use my Facebook page anymore. It was only to meet long lost family members a long time ago. My my other side of the family that I never knew. I had relatives that I didn't even know about, and they were like, hey, we heard about you and that you exist, but we can't find you. If you go on Facebook, then we can chat. So I went on Facebook, and they stole my face. I could not take it down from Facebook. They stole my face, and I can't take it back, so I call them Face Crook. Face Crook. Because they steal your identity, steal your face, and then you can't get it back. Nope. Face Crook. Sorry. Well, that's okay, because I got a face worth stealing. Okay? This is what counts, though. This spot right here. The Holy of Holies. The love that emanates from that eternal heart. Okay? Eternal love. It might be tough love sometimes, and sometimes that's the best love, is, teaches the most, is tough love. And when you're making a mistake and you need some tough love, that's where it comes from. And it's also forgiving love. It's fatherly love. Okay? And it's unconditional. It's more the condition for you. The more you believe, the more you get out of it. Okay? That's what it's about. You're still my child, whether evil or good. Okay? Half God, half devil means doesn't matter either way, you're going to answer to me. You're my child, whether you're on the evil side or on the good side. All right, it's what side did you choose during your path, during your time on this planet? Did you choose to find peace in Jesus in your life? Well, good. And you lived successfully. You found success, even though you didn't think you got enough done. You incorporated Jesus into your day, and that's where you found success. So you were successful. It's really simple stuff, but everybody has made it so complex and difficult. But real deal right there. There's your Lord and Savior with the sunglasses on. Okay? Opening up his shirt and pouring out that love. You've seen the images on candles where it shows Jesus's heart. Well, there it is right there. That's the real thing radiating out in the sky, in the clouds, propagating these faces into storms, and every single cloud feature, everything that happens on this planet comes from that area right there, from the Holy of Holies. Pretty amazing stuff. And when you see this and you understand, well, that makes you a member of a very special family. Isn't that pretty cool too? That gift as well. If you want to be a member of a special family, you can. Just trust me, believe me, and enjoy the show. Use these tools for your mental health. Okay, we're going to have success if you include Jesus in your day. Can't go wrong. It more than just once a week on Sunday. If you think you can handle all the things that are coming down your path with a 1 hour session in a church with a bunch of other people, you think that's going to help your mental health. You need to work on this every day, sometimes every hour. When you feel pulled away by the evil of this planet, put your foot in the other realm. Say, Lord, I need a minute to take a break and regain my composure. Take a few deep breaths. Find me in that moment. Wait, listen to the small voice inside that will guide you where to go next. If you just try it, it's all you have to do is just try it. Because when you do, you'll see the effects. And the effects maybe don't happen right away, but don't leave before the miracle happens. Keep trying. Patience and persistence will form character. If you keep going with perseverance and persistence and patience, we will form character, won't we? We will build character. That's how you build character. It's the only way it can be done. Now you're starting to see the process, why it has to be this way, because this is the only way we can build character. And it's not the color of your skin, it's the content of your character that needs work. And that's why we work on it, okay? I think that's it for tonight. I sure love you guys. I sure miss you guys. Okay, you are indeed caught up with me in the clouds, where we met in the air of cyberspace, where I went ahead and made a place that where I am, you may be also. I can't come over there and give you a hug right now, Leslie or Marcia, but we can at least still meet live on YouTube, where I can reach out through the screen and hug you from the clouds. Yeah, you're starting to see it, John White. Yeah, one little sermon on a Sunday is not going to keep your mental state. You need it every day, and that's why it's important that you do this every day. You guys are, everybody here is really doing well. You've picked up on it. You're finding the results. You're comprehending. You're grasping these concepts. Even if you don't find the results yet, most of you are grasping these concepts. It's not too hard. It's just a matter of trust and belief. So when you trust, when you believe, when you grasp these concepts, that's when you start to apply the disciplines I've been teaching you. When you apply those disciplines, you do indeed find the peace that doesn't transcend your circumstances. That there is a miracle right there. It takes all your difficulties and turns them into a test, and now you need that you'll see that you'll be overcoming something. You're going from glory to glory to glory every day, and when you look at it from that perspective, it makes you equal to anything. There's nothing that can beat you. You are better and equal to everything. You're unstoppable when you include Jesus in everything. When you learn that, God grant me the serenity. All right, I keep saying that one because I use it myself so much. I have found results with that thing so many times. God grant me the serenity to accept the fact that people are going to drive in the snow and still be on their cell phone. They will be on the edge of an icy cliff with no chains on and still have to text Becky, look at the view. Did you see that picture I just snapped? Okay. Grant me the serenity to accept that people are just going to do that. Okay, that's my issue. That's what I'm working on. I'm telling you my issues and that I have to work on. So it might be a similar issue that you work on. It's frustrating for me. I don't like to, be out in traffic too much, and when I am, it's even makes it even harder when people just stop at a green light because they think it's another opportunity to text at an intersection. They didn't even bother to look at the color of the light. It was just another intersection and opportunity to text. So they slam on their brakes at a green light. And that's why it frustrates me. So God, grant me the serenity to accept that people are going to do that. Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. Grant me the courage to change the things I can. Well, there's not much you can change except yourself. So, grant me the courage to change myself. There we go. Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change myself, and the rest just falls in line. Try practicing it. It helps. These are all tools I found to help me. I give this freely as a gift to you, so you may be caught up with me in the clouds. I love you guys. I miss you guys. You guys have victory already. So just keep pushing forward. That's it for tonight. I love you all. I miss you all. I am a man of my word when I said I would be back. You know, my word, man of my word. I'm a man of my word. I told you I would be back. I am back. I am already back. Can't you tell? Can't you tell? You should be able to, because you can look in the mirror now and see who you are as a child of God. I will be back. Bye.